Alright guys, this past weekend, the Victory Road August Challenge went down. Whoa! Yeah, so this is basically one of the first big online tournaments for Regulation H in the 2026 season, as you can see down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and recap these teams, kind of give my analysis of all the cool teams, show you guys all the cool techs, and just some meta game analysis, and yeah, just some. We're gonna do a lot of yapping basically. First of all, the world champion himself, Shohei, takes the gold with prize money. There's a lot of prize money, but basically, yeah. So Shohei won with in the finals against Audric David from France. So I was gonna analyze Shohei's team myself, but then I was scrolling on X and I found a team feature by Michael de Bester. I'm just gonna read it out for you guys. Okay, so he says this team features a common core of Dragonite, AV, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, and Goldengo. Obviously, Dark is very strong. It was topped off with Mouse Ape and a Miracle Seed Rilla for terrain control and strong priority. So yeah, pretty standard team. I would say Dark is pretty strong in this format. I want to point out here specifically, Dragonite has enough EVs to Oko Sneasler with 4 hits. That's very useful. So like, even if you don't get the 5 hit roll on the Dragonite, like, the loaded dice, you can still take out those key traps of this team like the Sneasler. Another calc that I want to specifically point out, Rillaboom has enough attack to always Oko Basque Legion with Grassy Glide. That will be useful later on. It's just a really strong core built on solid defensive synergy and offensive pressure. He said the team has a strong matchup into Rain and King Gambit balance. Sun is tricky but not super common right now, and Heart Trick Room is lead reliant, and Sand is also 50-50. So yeah, he said so that I don't see a lot of Sun here. There was not any Sun in the top. Yeah, I'm just scrolling down here. The highest placing Sun was 33rd. So yeah, even though the team is weak into Sun, it's pretty good into the rest of the meta. So yeah, overall Shohei, very good team. I want to just look at this specifically. So I want to explain real quick why Dark is just so strong. Dragonite overall is a really good Pokemon in this format. I would say that it offers that kind of speed control, like proactive like pressure that you need. Like if you let Dragonite set up, he basically becomes unstoppable, right? So like he can kind of sweep through whole teams. It will always take up a place in your opponent's mind. So Dragonite just puts a lot of pressure. Goldengo obviously just standard, very strong special attacker, and Ursaluna bulky special attacker that can output consistent damage. But let's talk about the defensive synergies of this team. Okay, so let's get the obvious things out of the way. Ground types love the matchup with the Goldengo and they hate Dragonite. Fire types also love Goldengo and hate Dragonite for obvious reasons. Ice types absolutely victimize Dragonite because he's a Dragon Flying type, but Goldengo just completely sweeps Ice types away. And let's look down at the Ursaluna Blood Moon. Dies to Water and Grass types like Basque Legion and Rillaboom, which obviously Dragonite as a Dragon type deals with pretty handily. And the fighting types like Sneasler that kind of do well into Ursaluna. They are also bad into Dragonite and Goldengo.
And I don't even care about Sneasler because I have a Goldengo in the back. So this is all about removing the Sinistra and exposing the Sneasler to the endgame win condition that is Goldengo here.
This core is really synergizes defensively really well. And outside of that, the main offensive thing that you want to take away, like the main offensive synergy is Goldengo and Ursaluna are kind of slow, like set up bulky attackers that just output consistent damage. So Dragonite is there to help them become more aggressive and more offensive, because sometimes if you don't have speed control, even if your guys deal so much damage, there's no way to enable them. So that's why I think Dragonite pairs so well with Goldengo and Ursaluna, especially with the Tailwind Haste. Very strong support set. Okay, so let's move on. I want to look at Audric's team. Let's go back here. What's this? Open a lot of Pokebase here. Audric's team. So Audric David of France has a standard P2 Ursaluna team. So I personally really like this P2 Ursaluna is quite strong. Okay, let me just clear some of these tabs. Oh holy shit! So this is pretty standard P2 Ursaluna. Obviously you have the very strong defensive offensive core of Incineroar, Gholdengo, and Mungus. You have the P2 and the Ursaluna, very strong Trick Room duo. And usually these teams run someone that's weak to ground, so you have at least have somebody that you can click the Earthquake next to, right? So in this team specifically, it's Hydreigon. I like the safety goggles Hydreigon because it really makes the side spam and side spam sun matchup quite free, and also the safety goggles helps against the Mungus that likes to round out those Trick Room cores. So overall, Hydreigon is very versatile, very good, gives you some very good matchups, and just being the Levitate mon in this team, it kind of rounds out the team very well. Draco Meteor for the immediate damage. Snow Tailwind is just damage reduction and the speed control, quite standard, but it really helps enable this Ursaluna. So this Ursaluna can fall into two modes of speed control. If you just give Ursaluna a bit of speed, you can run a Tailwind Ursaluna with Hydreigon. Obviously, you can click those fast Earthquakes next to the Hydreigon. Or you could run the Trick Room core, obviously like Incineroar, Porygon lead, then Amoonguss, Ursaluna in the back. That's a very strong Trick Room 4 that you can run with Ursaluna as well. So this Ursaluna is quite versatile. Looking at the matchup overall, looking at this matchup overall, it's definitely more Shohei favored. Mainly because Aldrich is more setup focused. Like his team is more like slow and balanced, while Shohei's kind of like Dark Core is can break through balance pretty well. And I think if you want to go for a Trick Room strategy into Shohei's team, the Rillaboom shuts down the Earthquake. If you lead too passively, you can let lmao save get set up, which is obviously not good. So I think Shohei has the overall better matchup. Obviously the Annihilate does really well into Incineroar, Gholdengo, Hydreigon, and Porygon. So pretty good. It went as favored, I guess. If anybody else has a comment on that matchup, feel free to drop it down below. Rest of the teams in top 8. In third, we have Joyu X9's pretty standard Sand, I would say. I'm not even gonna look at this. I already know all the sets, just by looking at these 6. I think this core won a regional with Magma instead of Annihilate, but Annihilate is pretty strong now, so I wouldn't mind losing the Magma as well. Fourth one, this one I want to cover. This is David Carrasco with the Volcarona setup. Is this a Volcarona centric team? I don't know. It looks really balanced because this is the Fire Water Grass core on top, and then this rounds out the team quite well. Volcarona obviously is the I guess it is. I guess it is the main sweeper. And with the Tyranitar is very interesting. I love Tyranitar on this team because it helps with your Sun matchup. Obviously, Tyranitar helps you, fight the Weather Wall and the Assault Vest Rock type. You're just gonna be tanking those strong Fire type attacks. So really good into Sun, I would say. And then the Basculation helps you improve that Rain matchup because obviously, put the fish in the rain, he's gonna be a really strong threat. So I think that this team is quite good into both weathers. Now, obviously, proven core double fake out is good with the Volcarona. Volcarona just wants to set up Quiver Dance and then sweep the rest of the team. And finally, Dragonite is just a strong. Like I said, Dragonite is really strong. Speed control, scale shot, consistent dragon type damage. It's quite an interesting way to play Volcarona, I would say. I've never seen the Tyranitar on there before. Maybe I just don't watch. I just don't look at these results enough. So that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. But yeah, I want to pull up the bracket here because David actually fought against Shohei. And remember how I said, okay, so look at this. David comes down here and then faces Shohei and he loses. And this is because I wanted to point out the Rillaboom, the calc. It always kills Basculation with a Grassy guy. So basically, David's already playing with a leg down because he basically Shohei's team invalidates the Basque Legion if you wanna. So if you wanna bring the Basque Legion, it's kind of hard. You have to force it to be a Terra Sync or play really well around the Rillaboom, which is it's not that hard to play around the Rillaboom, you know, but it's just something to keep in mind. Anyways, let's continue. Next team, Shunsuke Minami, very standard. Rain team, quite boring. Yeah, I won't cover that one. Let's go next to Marcus, Calculus VGC. So this guy is a Dondozo specialist, my fellow countryman. I have actually played this Dondozo before. It was quite an interesting game. You know, the only reason I probably beat him on his Dondozo, cause it was in a local back in Reg G, where obviously the much stronger threats like the Raging Ball, which I had on my team, you know, kind of put Dondozo in a not very good meta position. But now that Raging Ball and the Urshifu Duck, for example, are gone, you can kind of, you know, Dondozo can come out and play. So let's just look at this team real quick. Obviously, we have two very strong offensive leads that you can kind of play with here. Sneasel and Didi, obviously very strong. That needs no introduction. And then the other one is Ursaluna and the Whimsicott down here. So Ursaluna, this is a Silk Scarf Ursaluna. I personally like Silk Scarf Ursaluna because you can kind of just, like, you set up Tailwind, you hit those strong Blood Moons, Hyper Voices, you can, you know, run through a lot of teams that are not prepared for it. Outside of these, the last two, obviously the signature of this team, Dondozo and Tatsugiri. I think the main Dondozo looks quite standard. You know, you just wanna sit there, eat damage, click order ups, protect, heal with leftovers, that kind of thing. And I think it's really good. Like these four offensive guys, let me just look at this. These four offensive Pokemon, along with the Dondozo, because you can kind of look at in team preview. You can look at who threatens the Dondozo the most. Let's say like Archelodon or some other setup ideas, and then you can just blast. You can kind of blast through them with your offensive guys, then leave Dondozo in the back, just to, you know, clean up. And even if like the matchup is very bad for Dondozo, you can just go with these four offensive guys and kind of steal away the game just by nuking through their entire team. So it's actually a pretty solid offensive core. Dondozo has some potential in this format. So especially paired with hyper offensive strategies, you don't want your. I honestly prefer my teams, like if I want to play Dondozo, I wouldn't go so balanced, like so set up like double fake out or like Rillaboom. I would put more offense into my team. Dondozo really is just like a side core that you can rely on to in some matchups that your offensive guys like your Tailwind or your Unburden Sneasel can't just, you know, completely break through. So I think it is really interesting, this team. Alright, let's move on. Roy Gomez, boring ass shit. Completely just normal duck. Let's see this next team. This is one I want to point out. Jonas Neon Cruiser. This guy with the Baxcalibur. So yeah, I wrote down, I was writing notes about this whole tournament, what I wanted to say in the video, and I was like, I just wrote Jonas with the Bax, that's so goated. So yeah, Baxcalibur, I have no idea I have no idea what role Baxcalibur plays on this team or what place Baxcalibur has in the format, but I just like Baxcalibur, so I'm gonna shout it out anyways. Respect the Bax. So we have the Volcarona as a Quirodon setup, but interestingly, you don't run Protect here, you run the Rage Powder because this team doesn't necessarily single on Volcarona as the only setup sweeper. You also have the King Gambit, so, you know, redirecting that fighting type damage can be really important. You basically, it just gives you more options to not just set up with the Volcarona if the overall matchup isn't too favored into the Quirodon setup. Obviously, Rillaboom, staple on setup teams. The grassy terrain is really good, especially paired with this solo Dondozo here. So like I said, with the Rage Powder and Fake Out, I think Dondozo can be really good, like solo Dondozo, because you actually free up that partner slot. So with the Fake Out and the Quiver Dance, you can generate more turns to fissure, and Yawn is just really annoying to deal with. This is a much more annoying Dozo set than what Marcus had just now. I think I would much rather not face this on Dozo. The Yawn just puts a lot of pressure, fissure, you can just basically go gambling, and that's not how most players like to play the game. And to add even more gambling, we have Sneasler with the Dire Claw. Very standard, but always threatening. So overall, I think this team quite solid offense. The backs is I just like Bex Caliber. Now finally we're gonna be moving out of the top 8. Number 9, the guy who took 9th place, Armin Lena of Morocco. So this is goated, okay. This is the Reg H innovation that we were all promised. Right, look at this shit. I would assume this is, at first glance, you would think this D6 is Ninetales screen setup, right? But then you look here. Obviously, we have the Annihilate Mouse Ape setup, which is very good. I personally like this set of Annihilate with the leftovers. Very useful. Sinistra for just some extra redirection. If you wanted that option, because Mousehole doesn't actually have Follow Me. And you also get a Trick Room Setter in Sinistra, so Sinistra has some good roll compression here. But then, speaking of roll compression, we look down here. The Clef Key is just a screen setter likely. And the Ninetales is a Ice type attacker. So I would feel that Ninetales can probably play the role of a strong Ice type attacker, like Blizzard Spam with Sash. Quite good, while also having Aurora Veil as a third move instead of Encore. Ninetales can probably play Clef Key's role pretty decently, but I think it actually works quite well here, because Ninetales setting up screens is really centric on having the snow up. So if you're playing the weather matchups, you basically can't do that shit at all. And Klefki here, very interestingly, has Misty Terrain, which basically improves your matchup into Sneasler quite a lot. Because if you guys didn't know, Misty Terrain actually stops any status condition. So we just said fuck Sneasler. We hate Sneasler here, and we're just gonna click the Misty Terrain. So yeah, this actually Klefki is a very interesting tag, and hopefully we can see more Klefkis in the format. Okay, next let's keep going down. Lewis Marco with the normal this is A9 setup, right? Yeah, pretty standard here. Oh, interestingly, with the grassy Seed Gold Angle, I think this is I forgot who built this team. I feel like Justin Tang. It was Justin Tang. Yeah, I think it was. I think this is a Justin Tang team, right? Yeah, and it's pretty strong. I won't cover that too much because it's really an established core. We have some sand here, more balanced sand than Joyu X9 just now. Another P2 with High Dragon. And now this one I really want to look at. Okay, so Li Yu Chi, the Chi Goat himself. So we have, right away looking at this team, I actually really like it. That's a Rebombi, so instant points from me, and a Mimikyu. So let's just look a little bit closer at this team. So we have the Dragonite. Interestingly, not running as much setup because not running as much support because you have other stronger support mons like the Rebombi with the Tailwind. So we have just a Skill Shot, Low Kick, Extreme Speed, gives you that good offensive coverage. Then we have the Rebombi. So Rebombi, if you guys don't know what Shield does, this Shield does ability here. It basically gives Rebombi a built-in Covert Cloak. It ignores all the secondary effects. So you basically don't need to run Terra Ghost on Rebombi. You can kind of you're free to run any Terra you want with the Focus Sash. No need to run Covert Cloak on Rebombi. So that's actually gives Rebombi kind of this versatility as a support mon. You usually want your support mons to have a Covert Cloak, like those Whimsicots and whatever other support Pokemon that you run. Mainly Whimsicott. Whimsicott is the best comparison here. But basically, you have the strong Moonblast for those consistent fairy type attacks. I think Rebombi, I believe, is a bug fairy, right? So yeah. And then Fairy Terra just to give those Moonblasts a little bit more oomph, you know. Tailwind and Fake Tears. Fake Tears will pair really well with some of these guys later on as I scroll down, and Tailwind just, you know, obviously speed control. You can never go wrong with some speed control. And the next thing, this interestingly the picture doesn't actually load here, but this is Archaeodon. This is an Archaeodon with Sturdy. Okay, so Sturdy, Electric, Para, Electro Shot, Draco Meteor, Thunderbolt. This is very standard Archaeodon, I would say. For those hyper offensive teams that want to have a quick way to patch up their rain matchup without, you know, having to fucking play 40 chess around rain teams, you can run the Archaeodon. Archaeodon just strong, solid electric type damage. Does really well in the rain teams. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You know, Archaeodon already is such a staple piece on many of those rain teams, and this Archaeodon, although it doesn't necessarily need the rain to survive because you have the power up to power up the electro shot immediately, even without the rain. You can still do well in the rain just by having the opportunity to launch more electro shots than just one, you know, with just the power up. I think, yeah, Archaeodon pretty standard set to patch up the rain matchups. I was playing a hyper offense G Weezing team from James Beck, I think, and he said the Archaeodon was this exact same Archaeodon set. It's just really meant to be this Archaeodon on the team is basically a one trick. Just deal with the rain teams or deal with a Talonflame that might give this team some trouble, and just, you know, just patch up those matchups. So Archaeodon is pretty good for hyper offense. Next we have Mimikyu. So I wanted to specifically point out this Mimikyu here because I read this thing on Reddit where wait, let me think. I think I screenshotted this. It was under a thread that said, what are your anti-meta picks? So this guy said, for Reg H, Mimikyu can beat the Dark Core. Obviously I explained the Dark Core just now, very very strong. So Dark Core obviously standing for Dragonite, Ursaluna, and Goldengo. So Mimikyu can beat this core. Most Dragonite are running Skill Shot, Extreme Speed, and Low Kick. Hey, guess what? It's exactly what our Dragonite on this team has. And thanks to this guys, it can 1v1 Ursaluna with Wood Hammer or Goldengo with Shadow Claw or Shadow Sneak to force a Terra. So basically, Mimikyu does well into Dark, applies the appropriate pressure, and if it helps specifically with this set, it helps like your power up your trick room ideas while making it strong to Dark. So I think Mimikyu definitely a lot of potential. This guy is really annoying to deal with, and there's really no need to run a focus sash because this guy's gonna take away your focus sash anyway. So the life orb just let it output consistent damage, and with the disguise you can always you're basically guaranteed to set up trick room because Mimikyu is a ghost type and can't be faked out. So yeah, and some people run mental up I think to deal with the taunt, but I would say Mimikyu with the life orb is just much better. I think more versatile. It's not really very Typhlosion centric, but Typhlosion can still be a very big threat here with some of these other supporting cast. Now up to this point I've been kind of reading off my notes, but now I don't really have any other notes, so let's just run through the next few teams, just do a quick scroll through, see for anything interesting. We have Michael Kelch, obviously with the classic MDB balance. We have Lucas Master Christensen with the another P2 Ursaluna core, but this time the flying type or the levitate mon is the Killer Wash Road, so you have access to strong electric type damage like those discharges next to the Ursaluna against water types. So that's actually a really good innovation. I think Killer Watcher definitely has a place on these teams. Just continue, see if there's any cool shit. This all looks pretty standard. Raj Desai with the Komo-O. So this looks like a pretty standard Komo-O team, I would say. Notably no screens on the Ninetales, which is not ideal if you wanna set up with the Komo-O, but you know, I'm not the expert here. This guy's the expert. This guy's the one that made the top card or made the top 32 in this store, so I would just trust his instinct. We have the Arcanine with the choice band, immediate damage and damage reduction. Arcanine is a very versatile Pokemon in this format. Choice Scarf Basque Legion, obviously very strong with the adaptability, and Assault Vest Kingambit. So you kind of patch up your matchup into the fairy types, because without this Assault Vest on Kingambit, if you were running the black glasses with Swords Dance, your overall matchup into fairy types like the opposing A9 and Primarina will be much weaker. So Kingambit with the Iron Head Low Kick is actually very, very good on this team. And we have the Rillaboom with the Taunt. Good. Rillaboom has a lot of room to innovate nowadays. And as I was saying about the Sun wasn't very common. Highest placing Sun is 21st with Superior. Torkoal with the Terra Fighting, interestingly. So it's a body press Torkoal. We have Bright Powder Sandville Garchomp. Where's the sand? Oh, the sand's down there, okay. Wow. This is really cool. This is a type of shit you can bring to the Grand Challenge and make people disconnect their internet with. Interestingly, we have the Typhlosion that's running Infernal Parade. You usually don't see Typhlosions running Infernal Parade, mainly because there are better options. You don't really need the Infernal Parade when you have the Shadow Ball. And we have the Grimmsnarl Screen, Tyranitar, very standard set on Tyranitar, and the Superior at the start of the show. Covert Cloak, Leaf Storm, Spam Superior. But mainly you can use Superior in a supporting role, I think. The Glare, what does Glare even do? I think it paralyzes, right? Yeah, Glare is just a good supporting move. Taunt, very versatile Superior there. And then the Garchomp, I would say, the Garchomp with the Swords Dance. This team is cheese true and true, you know. You just roll for those Sandville dodgers, you get a Swords Dance, you sweep through the entire team. Yeah, so basically, very nice team, very cool. And then obviously the Typhlosion, the Choice Scarf, you do not need any Tailwind with that. So yes, very interesting. Let's end off the video here. Let's end off the video with these last few teams in top 32, okay? Firstly, my GOAT Espathra. Like, we have the Life Orb Espathra here. Very strong Pokemon, the Espathra, with the Life Orb. If you guys didn't know, Lumina Crash has a guaranteed chance to, I believe, drop the opponent's special defense by 2 stages. So basically, Espathra, you get 1 Lumina Crash off. Like if it's a particularly bulky Pokemon like the Archaludon, the Lumina Crash basically helps you break through on the following turn. So it's really hard to not get killed by a Espathra, if you know what I'm saying. The expanding force Lumina Crash, Dazzling Gleam, obviously the expanding force very good next to that in DD. And like you can catch people with the Lumina Crash on the first turn. Let's say you lead Espathra in DD, you Lumina Crash the more tanky guy, follow me with DD. And then let's say your DD goes down. By the next turn, Espathra has a speed boost and is ready to fucking nuke with the expanding force. Especially into that guy who you Lumina Crash, he's getting deleted, okay? And if you want to switch the Pokemon that had the special defense drops out, you get another guy comes in to eat an expanding force. Life Orb, Psychic Terrain, expanding force. So very strong side spam over there. We have the Sneasel, obviously staple on side spam teams with the Psychic Seed, the Throat Chop, Close Combat Direct Claw, very standard Sneasel set. So just now I talked about the Choice Band Arcanine. This one is a Mirror Up Intimidate Arcanine. This is a very, very evil tech. If you especially hate those Kingambits or those Annihilates, you Intimidate, they get dropped 1 stage on their attack, and then they gain 2 stages, right? So they are at 1.5 attack. But the Arcanine, since he doesn't get intimidated, but the Mirror Up helps him copy the opposing Pokemon's stat changes. Now you have an Arcanine at +2 that is basically ready to sweep. It can be very dangerous. So yeah, that's basically the point of the Mirror Up on the Arcanine. I think I saw a Paldean Tauros down there, probably running Mirror Up too. Let's just look at that. Fabulous Rock Slide Close Combat, very standard offense. We have the last team with Mirror Up Aqua Tauros. I called it. this last one. Now this last team I want to look at. These are all serious. These guys are so serious. This team is an extremely serious team, if you know what I mean. You guys get it, right? I don't think this is the actual if this is the actual OTS, this guy's the GOAT. But yeah, we have the very strong Hydreigon on the Choice Scarf. I think Choice Scarf Hydreigon has its role. You don't necessarily always need to run safety goals or Assault Vest. The Hydreigon, that would be fall into a more offensive role. Then obviously the Goldengo, very standard Goldengo. Very standard Volcarona, Rillaboom, Core, Setup Core with the Goldengo. These three, another strong Setup Core with Steel type. And then we have the Tyranitar, like I said, to patch up that fire type and sun matchup. And the last one, like I was saying just now, Mirror Up has a lot of potential. Now, Mirror Up against those Defiant Mons is actually really useful. So I think it helps this Aqua Tauros have a good matchup into the King Gambit and Annihilate. And not only you get a good matchup into those two guys, you also get attack boost to help you for the rest of the game. Especially this Aqua Jet, if you have your +2 Aqua Jet, you just keep spamming. It's really hard to stop your steamroll. That will be it for the VR recap. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You learned some shit from my there's a Blaziken. Okay, yeah, I hope you guys learned something from the video. I will link the Victory Road thing down in the description if you guys want to check out some of the teams like this Blaziken over here. So what the fuck is this? What is this? 6'5" is higher than 7'3"? What is this structure? If you want to check out cool teams like the Blaziken, Mamoswine, Masquerada that I'm not gonna cover today, go and check out the link in the description, and you can see these cool usage stats as well. Yeah, very cool. I will link this article down in the description. Right, thanks guys for watching.